First of all, let me start with, if you can motivate kids without the use of incentives, do so, not because incentives are wrong, not because incentives are bribery, but if I set up reward systems, that's one thing that does cut into instructional time. So if I'm able to motivate a class without incentives, without some kind of token economy or point system or whole group system, I will do so, because once I set one up, fading them is actually very difficult. It can be done, but it needs to be done across a period of months. So if I can motivate a group without them, I will do so. If I can motivate the entire group without them, except for this one student, Devin, I won't set up group systems, but I may set up some individual contracts. Now, regarding if I am going to set these up because I feel I need them to kick your motivation into gear, either an individual kid or a whole group, I first of all will try to make sure that we get rid of, in a building, any threat that colleagues are going to say you shouldn't be bribing kids. Because incentives are not bribes. Incentives are like a college degree. College is a giant point system. It's a giant token economy. Bribes are incentives to do something illegal, unethical, or immoral. So I want that one off the table. And if you are setting up incentives, you're basically going, I am having to go to these kids' developmental level for both immediate gratification, for extrinsic rewards, because there may not be for these particular kids at this particular moment, or this particular child at this particular moment, there may not be enough intrinsic rewards to motivate this kid. And so with that in mind, I'm not setting them up if I don't have to. If I can motivate you without them, I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to reinforce the heck out of you for your perseverance, for your responsibility, for your level of respect, etc., to try to enhance some of those things. I will also try to set up things where I'm training you to self-reinforce. But if I do have to set them up, I am only setting them up because I cannot motivate you otherwise. I am going to a level where I'm going to use some incentives. If you do this, here is what you get, to try to kick your behavior into gear so that you start seeing the benefits of exhibiting these behaviors, so that then both intrinsics, like a sense of satisfaction, and extrinsics, like a good grade on the paper or praise from the teacher, are sufficient without caring as much about the reward. And that's how I'll eventually fade them, is to put a very high value on my ratio, or to put a very high level of ratios of interactions as I'm starting to fade these, to the point where kids, oh, I don't need that reward anymore, is eventually where I hope to get. But I'm not doing anything that is bribing the kid. I am not doing anything that is taking motivation away from a kid, because there is no motivation with this kid right at this moment. If there was motivation with this kid right at this moment, I would capitalize on that and just use my positive feedback and so on to keep it going. The people that say, for example, quoting Alfie Kohn's work, punished by rewards, Kohn is very selective in the research that he cites. He cites research like this. If we take college students who were self-motivated to exhibit something like public service, and we start paying them for their public service, and then we remove the payment for public service, they will do less public service than they did before we started paying them. He uses that as a citation, and many studies like that, which are well documented, I think reasonably well designed studies. People were motivated to do something without being paid. We start paying them somehow. We then take the payment away. They do less of the thing than they did before, to say, therefore, you shouldn't reward. He quotes no studies where there is no motivation to do this thing. And what are we now going to do? Write those kids off? I'm saying set up incentives to get them motivated to do this thing so that they start seeing the satisfaction of doing this thing. And then if you're going to stop paying them, do it gradually.